So I wanted to talk a little bit about the resignation of Katie Hill. For those of you who don't know, she's the Democrat that resigned from the House because photos were released of her where she was having sex on a three-way with her husband and with a staffer, smoking a bong, other things like that. So there's several issues to talk about here. I want to first start off by talking about it. I don't care about her sex life whatsoever. I find it despicable that apparently her husband was the one who released these photos. But releasing nude photos to professionally or politically shame someone that you have a disagreement with is disgusting. And if there are revenge porn laws in the area where he lives, I hope that he's prosecuted to the fullest extent. I have no time of day for this. To me, it's just another extension, though be it a more grotesque one, of trying to go back through people's yearbooks or Twitter feed and to find something that has nothing to do with people's work that you could use to shame them into resigning or to affect their political or professional career. I have no time of day for it. I find it disgusting. And I think that Katie Hill's right to be outraged about that. I also want to say, I don't care whatsoever about her sex life as long as it's consensual. I don't care at all. If she's engaged in weird orgies or weird three-ways and things like that, it's none of my business. Is that affecting her job performance? Is that affecting anything that she's doing as supposedly the representative of people that voted for her? No, I don't think it is. It matters not to me whatsoever. I'm sick and tired of being involved in people's sex life. It used to be the Democrat and the left were the people that felt the same way. But you can see they're the group that actually are responsible for her having to resign. Now, the reason that this is relevant to talk about is I'm trying to say that I don't care. I don't care. It's someone on the right. It's someone who's a Republican and a conservative. I don't care. I don't want to see her resign over choices she made in her sex life at all. Now, she was supposedly smoking a bong, which is illegal. I don't care about that either. As long as she's not a hypocrite about it, which I haven't seen that she's been, extremely anti-marijuana or anything. So I don't care about any of it at all. And I'm someone who doesn't like her policies. But the narrative being spun by the media and the Democrats and by Katie Hill herself is, oh, this is this big right-wing conspiracy bringing her down, and there's this huge double standard, and if it was a Republican male, things would have been different. But actually, as is often the case, the truth's the exact opposite of what they're telling you. What really happened is she violated ethics resolutions that were passed as a result of the Me Too movement that were championed predominantly by the Democratic Party. And those ethics resolutions say things like, you're not allowed to sleep with a staffer that's on your team. The reason for this is because there's this idea that's coming from the left and through social justice type people and people in the Me Too movement that if someone in a position of power sleeps with someone that's under them, that's somehow some form of sexual abuse because you've leveraged your power to encourage some sort of sexual activity. I've said this is stupid from the get-go. I've been saying this for years. I remember when David Letterman was accused of having a sexual relationship with someone who was on his staff, a woman that was beneath him. And that was said that, he was a sexual predator because he leveraged his power to have sex with this person, even though it was consensual. And I said from the get-go that was nonsense because all of us, no matter what our position are trying to use things to our benefit to encourage partners. That's just the way things work. For example, if you're extremely beautiful, you're using your looks to be able to encourage other people to want to be sexually attracted to you. If you're not very attractive, but you have a lot of wealth, you use that wealth. If you have a position of power, then you use that position of power. It's only a problem if you're saying things like coercing someone by saying, I'll fire you if you don't sleep with me. There's no allegation that David Letterman did that. There's no allegation that Katie Hill did that. So I don't have a problem with it. I think that we live in this prudish kind of area, which again is predominantly being pushed by the left. It used to be the right that was pushing prudish things when it comes to sexual nature. But now we see that it's the left saying, oh, no. These are the certain types of sexual relationships that are acceptable, and these ones aren't acceptable. If you sleep with someone who has a lesser job than you or that is an underling of you, that's not an acceptable sexual relationship. I find that ridiculous. But as a result of the Me Too movement, this was part of the resolutions that were passed. And so now it's an ethics violation. Katie Hill would have you believe, as would the Democrat media and many of the Democrats, that she's being forced out by Republicans. But allegedly, it was Nancy Pelosi that asked her to step down. Now, why would Pelosi ask her to step down? Well, because they push these ridiculous restrictions, and now when someone on their side does them, they know that they're going to suffer wait a minute, you're hypocrites. You pushed this because you thought that it might bring down powerful men, but when we see a powerful woman engaged in this behavior, all of a sudden you don't have a problem with it. So they didn't want to have this ethics fight, particularly in a time when Pelosi and her party are engaged in a coup and trying to take down Trump. They didn't want to have this separate fight, so they asked Hill to step down. Now, Hill does predictably what all Democrats do, almost all Democrats do in situations like this. They play the victim. And yes, she is, like I said from the outset, I do think that it's absurd that these nude photos of her were released, and I hope she seeks legal recourse to that. But that's not why she was forced out of office. It has nothing to do with the nude photos. It has to do with what is being deemed an improper sexual relationship with a staffer. I don't find it improper. I don't care at all about it. It was the Me Too people that had a problem with these type of relationships. They're the ones that are forcing this out. Now, the media themselves, it's worth talking about because, as always, we can see that they're nothing more than mouthpieces for the establishment Democrats. They're a bunch of hypocrites. So juxtapose this situation that's going on with Katie Hill with the situation that happened with Trump and Stormy Daniels. With Katie Hill, yes, it is grotesque. Stormy didn't release nude photos of Trump. But we see that that is what happened with Katie Hill, and that part of it's grotesque. But they're covering up the other part, the idea of an improper sexual relationship. Now, look at how these same media people that are saying, oh, Katie Hill's the victim here. How did they treat Donald Trump? Remember what Stormy Daniels was. She was an extortionist. She was someone who, I'll take it face value, had a sexual relationship with Donald Trump, was paid to keep quiet about it in a non-disclosure agreement, violated that by telling Trump basically, hey, I'm going to release these details once she found out he was running for office, and then ultimately did release those details. Not only that, she went on syndicated talk shows like late night shows and made fun of the shape and size of Trump's penis. Now imagine if the reverse had happened. Imagine if the husband of Katie Hill that's released these photos, if he would have made fun of Katie Hill's genitals on the Colbert Show or Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Kimmel. Do you think the media's reaction would have been the same it was to Trump? With Trump, they cheered Stormy Daniels, the extortionist, as a hero. The person that was making fun of his genitals as a hero. They thought it was hilarious. They were engaged in the joke. But with Katie Hill, they call a victim. And it just goes to show the nonsense double standard. You know for a fact, if the P-tape was real, the supposed P-tape of Donald Trump that was in the dossier, that they all foamed at the mouth discussing. If that tape was real and they got photos from it, you know for a fact almost every single media outlet that's complaining that Katie Hill's a victim would have published those without question and said that it was a relevant news story. So there's a lot to digest here, but here's my take in a nutshell that I've been talking about. One, just like I did with Al Franken, just like I did with people on the left and the right, I didn't want to see Katie Hill resign over this. It's supposedly a consensual sexual relationship. I don't care if it seems strange, if she's again engaged in polygamy or orgies or cuckolding. I don't care. I don't care at all. It means nothing to me. I do think it's despicable that nude photos were released of her. But I also find the bigger story to be that once more, we see a Democrat who did something that their own side said was improper, now claiming to be a victim, and she's backed up by the mouthpieces in the media that aren't real media. They're just mouthpieces for the establishment Democrats. So I do think she's a victim in the sense that these nude photos were released and she should seek legal recourse. I didn't want to see her resign, but it's not the Republicans' fault. This was the Me Too people that pushed this type of resolution, these ethics complaints, these ethics standards. So that's who she should be upset with. So, hey, sorry I've been kind of not making videos here recently, but I've been really busy with my work. I'll be putting more videos out daily, including a live stream today. This is Friday, November 1st. I'll be doing a live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern Time where I'm going to be talking about a bunch of things with the impeachment process, Epstein, and other things like that. So please tune in for that. Also, if you like this, please like and subscribe. And I encourage you to kind of put this out to more people if you could. Share it with other people because YouTube's not going to push conservative commentary, which I think it's really important that we all stick together. And follow me on Twitter and BitChute as well, which I'll put links to. So thanks, everyone, and have a good one.